What kind of lengths do we need to go to squeeze every ounce of precision out of a .22 long rifle? That's what we're going to discover today on Precision Rifle Network. Obviously, this is calipers, right? But this little device attached to the end of it here is like a comparator, and this is a rimfire, a rim thickness comparator. Now, there's some theories out there that the thickness of the primer charge around the rim of a .22 long rifle case is what makes it more or less accurate. So I'm going to switch the camera here and I'm going to show you 5 different types of ammunition that I've got today. And I'm going to take just a random sampling of 5 to 7 shells out of each of these boxes. If there's any differences in the boxes, any big differences, I'm going to set them aside. I'm going to sort these boxes and then we're going to shoot them and see what the differences are. Okay guys, so what I've got here is I've got a Norma TAC-22, a CCI standard velocity. I've got an Eley match. This is 40 grain. It's kind of their match grade. Federal gold medal match. And I've got SK match, the red box. And again, I'm just going to initially here take about 5 rounds randomly. I'm going to plunk it into here. I'm going to bring that down. And we've got, now this is going to be .0043. I'm going to rotate that slightly and check again. 0043 on that one. Okay, so, that was just a quick, checking between boxes. I randomly picked 5 to 6 cartridges out of each box and just ran them through the comparator to see what are the real differences that we can expect here, right? And the biggest one was from the Norma TAC-22, and it was a difference of .0040 and .0042. I just don't see how that amount of deviance makes a big difference downrange. But what I'll do is now I'm going to go through and I'm going to sort each of these boxes of ammo into exact numbers, ones that are 0040. I'll pick 5 that are exact, and in the same box, if I find some that are 0042, I'll pick as many of those out as I can and set them aside, and I'll make different groups of those, and then we'll shoot them and see if there's that big of a difference. All right guys, so before we head out to the range, I just want to tell you what I found as I measured each individual round out of all of these boxes. Okay, so in all the boxes, the largest variance was .0002 of a difference. Eley was the most consistent with only 2 rounds being different out of the entire box. All the other brands had .0002 variance throughout the entire box. Some of the brands only had 2 or 3 rounds that differed, like total. The vast majority of them were all the same, right? But some of the brands only had 2 rounds, like Eley, that were different than the rest of the box. Some had 3, some had 5. So just keep that in mind. So all boxes, all of these different brands had at least 94% consistency. Eley had the best at 96% consistency. So as I head out to the range, just a few things that I'm going to be looking for and what I think should happen. So I'm going to be measuring overall group size from each of these, and I'm going to measure deviation from my center hold, so difference between point of aim and actual point of impact. So what I can assume from what I've gathered already is that the Eley should shoot the smallest group. I'm not super scientific, guys, so you just got to kind of take it or leave it here. Hopefully you'll gather something out of this. Anyway, let me get out to the range and we'll see what we get.
Okay guys, so here we are out at the range and I've got a target set up at 50 yards. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get a control group down there. This is a CZ457 Varmint chassis gun. It's completely stock from them. No trigger work done, no nothing. Completely stock rifle. So it should give us a pretty true representation of what each of these different ammos will do through a factory rifle. I do have a suppressor out on the front. This is Vortex HD Gen 2 Razor, and I'm going to do my control group with the SK Match. We'll go ahead and just get a 5-shot group down there at the top leftmost circle. That looks like a decent group. All right guys, so just to reiterate what we found kind of at home in the man cave was that there was no more than a 0.0002 thousandths of a deviation in an entire box of 50 from any of these. I'm just not expecting to see a lot down there at 50. That's my assumption, but we're gonna find out just to see what the difference is. And so how I'm gonna work this is, I'm gonna take the control group for each round. And by control group, I mean, when I went through the entire box of 50 and checked for consistency, there was, 96 or so percent, 94 to 96% of the box of 50 was one of these numbers, and then there was a divergent group of just 2 to 3 to 4 rounds out of the entire box. I'll test that second right next to it, and we'll make our determinations off of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the CCI, and so my control group for the CCI is here. It's gonna be next. And directly to the right of that group, I'm going to follow it up with the divergent rounds, and we'll see what the difference is as far as just like, point of aim to point of impact. They should, if they are similar enough to not worry about, they should hit in roughly the same kind of pattern, but it's going to be hard to tell here. So let's go to the next dot over. Okay, that was definitely a larger group. Interesting. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one here. Let's go ahead and do the TAC 22 next. Our control group is here. Okay, and now the divergent group for TAC 22. You saw on the first one there, the divergent group, there was only 3 rounds. That's because there was only 3 divergent rounds in the entire box. Same with the TAC 22 in the entire box. There was only 3 rounds that were different than the other ones. Next target over. Okay, for our federal gold medal match, the 0040 was our control group. Federal gold medal for the control group. I'm gonna go ahead and go down to the next row so that I can get things lined up side by side. Alright, and the follow-up group, or the divergence here, 0042, next target over. Well, in that case, the divergence shot better than the control group. Unless I've got that switched around, I'll double check and put it on the screen if I did. All right, let's go SK match next. Next target over here. All right, and let's follow up the divergence here. Next target over. Okay, again, that group was all one ragged hole compared to what I thought was the control group. So I'm gonna have to go back and just see which one of the, I might have mixed those up between the control group and the whatever. I forgot to label the bags. So there's a chance I did that. I'll make it right after the fact when I edit the video if that's the case. All right, last one, the Eley. I know this is the control group because it has more rounds than the follow-up. My assumptions were that the Eley should shoot the tightest group based on the consistency of the whole box, but we will see. Down to the next row, far left. That's a pretty doggone good group. All right, well, now let's see. I only had 2 rounds out of the entire Eley box that were divergent. It's not going to be much of a group, guys, but hopefully it gives us some information. And it did. Okay. Let's get back to the man cave and I'll finish up kind of the findings as I see them.
Okay, guys, so all done here. Let's wrap this thing up. Again, I'm not much of a scientist, and I'm sorry that I'm not wearing my hat right now, to be honest. Anyway, you get to deal with bald old men, what can I say? So the groups, you know, here they are, you kind of see them. I put a better picture up there. I'm going to put some pictures of groups up on the screen. I've got some notes here on my phone as I go along, but basically I'm going to break them down by the different ammos and just say kind of what I think we can we can say about each of these based on my findings. So, and that's about as scientific as you're gonna get, I'm afraid. So here we go. The CCI was only 0.0001 of a difference between the control group and the divergent group. The group sizes were basically identical, and so were the offsets from my point of aim to point of impact. So really, there's simply not enough information here to make a determination about the primer thickness affecting accuracy. However, the CCI did shoot one of the larger groups. It's also not considered a match grade ammo. So take that all for whatever you will. So the TAC-22 had primers that measured 0.0002 difference, and while that difference actually made a difference in the other brands, it didn't really seem to make a difference in the TAC-22. This ammo grouped the same size and the same offset. Again, one of the larger groups, but also not really considered a match grade ammo, I don't think. Let me see, let's make sure. No, just a high performance, doesn't say match grade in any way, shape, or form. So again, just not enough information between the two sets of groups, even though it was, the 0.002 difference that all the other types of ammo were as well. All the other ammos, when they were 0.002 off difference or whatever in the measurements, it actually made a bigger difference. This one shot basically the exact same no matter what. So I guess maybe there's some consistency in that, but the groups were larger. Now moving on to the Federal Gold Medal Match, it had a 0.0002 variance that equated to the largest group size difference out of all the ammo tested. The group nearly doubled in size, and the deviant group was the largest out of all the ammo tested. You can see the numbers there on the screen, and you can make your own determinations. I've had some rifles that just really love that Federal Gold Medal Match and some that just really don't, and I'm just thinking this one, it's just not, it's not amazing, Some like some it doesn't like. So, all right, the SK had a 0.0002 variance as well in primer thickness, which resulted in the divergent group being almost double the size of the control group. However, both groups were still fairly good. One was about 0.3 something and one was about 0.6 something. You can see the numbers on the screen there. The SK group technically ended up being the tightest group, the smallest group, but I did mess that order up, right? I had said that there's a chance that I could have the two groups switched around. And that was in fact the case with the Federal Gold Medal, where the 5-shot group that I shot was actually the divergent group, and the 3-shot follow-up group was supposed to be the divergent group, and I switched those around. So the second group with the Federal Gold Medal was tighter. That ended up being the control group. I went back through the boxes and measured. Same with the SK here. I went back through the boxes and measured, and the second group of the SK, the tighter group, was actually the control group, and the first group was the divergent group. So on both of those, I switched that around accidentally. And I will say of the SK, in the box of ammo, it had 0.0043, 0.0044, and 0.0045. So there was technically 3 different sizes of primer thickness in the box of SK compared to all the other ones, which only had 2. Take that for whatever you will. It still seems to shoot pretty stinking well. Eley put up the tightest 5-shot group, measuring about 1/4 of an inch, and the difference between the control group and the divergent group was almost triple the size. So the control group was 0.0039 on the Eley, and the divergent group was only 1 number away, but the group size almost tripled in size, which was interesting to me. What would it have done if it had been, 0.002 or 0.003 of a size difference? Would that group have gotten even larger? I don't know, but for dang sure, that control group was a nice tight group on the Eley. And again, on the out of the whole box of 50, the Eley had the highest percentage of the same measurements in the box at 96%. So, you know, that was the highest. Everything else had 92% similarity out of all 50 rounds, whereas the Eley was the best at 96% and shot the tightest 5-shot group. We'll just never know if that 3-shot group from SK, if I'd have put 2 more rounds in there, would it have all gone into that same tiny group, or would that group size have grown? We'll just never know. You can leave your comments below with what you think would have happened had I shot those two rounds of SK. But anyway, guys, you know, again, I am no scientist, and the scientific process frustrates me to no end. So putting together a long, nerdy video like this dang near killed me. At the very least, let's give me a thumbs up for that, all right, down below, and leave some comments so that we can maybe trick the algorithm into liking this video more. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more great videos from Precision Rifle Network.